So the next concept is quick return motion mechanisms. So this comes under unit 2 of module 1, mechanisms. So what do you mean by quick return motion mechanisms? So here quick return motion mechanisms are used in machine tools such as shapers and power driven saws, that is power saws, for the purpose of giving the reciprocating cutting tool a slow cutting stroke and a quick return stroke with a constant angular velocity of the driving crank. Some of the common types of quick return motion mechanisms are, so one is drag link mechanism, another one is Whitworth quick return motion mechanism, and third one is crank and slotted lever quick return motion mechanism. So in the previous lecture we have discussed Whitworth quick return motion mechanism as well as crank and slotted lever quick return motion mechanism. Okay, so now let us see what is drag link quick return motion mechanism. So the drag link quick return motion mechanism is a one of the major type of a quick return motion mechanism. So this is one of the inversion of 4-bar mechanism with 4 turning pairs. So you can see the fixed link. So fixed link is the link number 1, crank is link number 2, connecting rod link number 3, and rocker is link number 4. So this is output link number 5 and link number 6. This is the RAM. This is a bar which connects the uh, point C and RAM. Okay. So link number 2 AB is the input link here. Link number 2 AB is the input link moving with constant angular velocity in anti-clockwise direction. Point C of the mechanism is connected to the tool post E of the machine. During cutting stroke, tool post moves from E1 to E2. Moves from E1 to E2. The corresponding positions of C are C1 and C2, as shown in the figure. You can see uh, for the point C to move from C1 to C2, point B moves from B1 to B2 in anti-clockwise direction. That is, cutting stroke takes place when input link moves through angle B1A B2. B1A B2 in the figure we can see in anti-clockwise direction, and return stroke takes place when input link moves through angle B2A B1 in anti-clockwise direction. So now the time ratio is given by the equation time for forward stroke divided by time for return stroke. So forward stroke happens through the angle B1A B2 in anti-clockwise direction, whereas return stroke happens through the angle B2A B1 in the anti-clockwise direction. So next one is a very important type of mechanism, straight line motion mechanism. So sometimes a point on self instruments or instrument is required to move in a straight line. For this purpose, sliding pair is best option, but the problem is they are bulky and get rapidly worn out. So hence it is required to obtain straight line motion by the use of turning pairs. A mechanism in which straight line motion is obtained by using turning pairs is called straight line motion mechanism. In a straight line motion mechanism, one point always moves in a straight line path, hence it generates a straight line. Okay, so according to the nature of straight line, a straight line path generated by the mechanism, they are classified as follows. One is exact straight line motion mechanism or generation mechanism. Another one is approximate straight line motion mechanism. So again, this exact straight line motion mechanism is divided into three major types of mechanism. First one is Besselier mechanism, another one is Hart mechanism, and third one is Scott-Russell mechanism. So these are comes under exact straight line mechanism, and under approximate straight line motion mechanism, first one is Watt mechanism, second one is Grosshoppers mechanism, third one Chebyshev's mechanism, and last one Roberts mechanism. So these four types, important types of approximate straight line motion mechanisms comes under approximate straight line mechanism. So next one, condition for exact straight line motion. So in order to design a straight line motion mechanism, so it has to satisfy a condition. So what is that condition? Let us see. So let us consider a circle of diameter AD with center as O. So along with this circle, let us consider a point B, so which is moving along the circumference of the circle. Now let us join the point AB and extend it till it reaches point C. Similarly, let us extend the point AD till it reaches point E. Now I am going to join point C and E and point B and D. So therefore, so here it forms two triangles, right angle triangles. So triangle AEC and triangle ABD. Triangle ABD, right angle triangle ABD, and right angle triangle AEC. So these are similar triangles because having the same angle. So triangle ABD and ACE are similar because having the same angle. Therefore, ABD is equals to AC. Triangle ABD is equals to triangle AC. So therefore, if I take the uh, side AD from the triangle ABD, so we can take the ratio AC from the other triangle. So is equals to AB by AE. So from this equation, we can take AE is equals to AB into AC by AD. Since AD is the diameter, therefore it is constant, it does not change with respect to the time. So if AB into AC, that is this line ABC line, is constant, then the line AE will be also a constant. Hence point C moves along the straight line path CE. So the first one, under exact straight line motion mechanism, so which is prescribed in VTU syllabus. Peculiar exact straight line motion mechanism. So this is very important type of exact straight line motion mechanism. So it is an exact straight line motion mechanism. It consists of 8 links. It consists of 8 links. Link number 1 is always a frame fixed link, and this is link number 2. AE is the link number 2, link number 3, link number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it consists of 8 links. So in this mechanism, link AE is the input link, and all the links having turning pairs or revolute pairs. All the links having turning pair or revolute pairs. So in the animation, you can see the blue link, that is link AE, is the input link. So through this, the movement of the entire mechanism takes place. So when it is oscillates about the point A, then the pointer at the tip P will traces the exact straight line motion along the path PO. Okay. So now we have to prove the pointer P traces the exact straight line. So for that, so let us consider the mechanism again. So in this mechanism, as I mentioned or as I explained, A is the input link. Okay, so the point E moves along the circular path. So along the circular path, this point E will move, and its radius is AE, and the length of this link AE is always equals to the length of this AB, or distance between the fixed point AB. Also in this trapezium, the length of EC should be equals to length of PC, and the length of PC should be equals to length of PD, and PD should be equals to DE. Okay, so all the lengths of 4 links should be equal, and also the length of this BC should be equals to length of this BD. Okay, so in triangle BFC and PFC, so let us consider the two triangle. So this triangle, that is triangle BFC and triangle PFC. So according to Pythagoras theorem, the longest side in this triangle is BC, right? Therefore BC square is equals to FB square plus FC square. So we can write like this. So let us call this one as equation number 1. Similarly, the triangle PFC, so longest side is PC, therefore PC square is equals to PF square plus FC square. Call this one as equation number 2. Now subtract equation 1 and 2. So what happens? So BC square minus PC square is equals to, so FC is common, therefore FC square get cancelled. These are the remaining terms, that is FB square minus PF square. So it is of the form A square minus B square. So therefore we can write this one as A plus B into A minus B. Okay, A plus B into A minus B. But FB plus PF, so in the mechanism you can see FB, so from center of this point to this point FB plus this PF, so the total length is BP or PB. Similarly FB minus PF, so FB, from center to the fixed point FB minus PF. So PF is nothing but FE. So PF is also nothing but FE because all the links having same length. So FB minus FE represent BE. So in place of FB minus PF we can write BE. Since BC and PC are constant, that is this length BC and this PC are constant, the product of BP and BE also becomes constant. So which is the condition for exact straight line motion. Therefore, this point P traces the exact straight line perpendicular to BA. Perpendicular to BA. So next one, under approximate straight line motion mechanism. So Roberts mechanism is one of the important type under approximate straight line motion mechanism. Okay. So it is also a 4-bar chain mechanism which in its mean position has the form of trapezium. The link OA and O1B are of equal length and OO1 is fixed. In the figure you can see a bar PQ is rigidly attached to the link AB. So in between link AB, a bar is rigidly attached, that is PQ. So it is a 4-bar mechanism. As you can see the 4 bars. So during the motion of link AO2 and BO1, the entire mechanism will move in right side and left side direction. So during its motion, the pointer Q will trace the approximate straight line. So in the animation you can see the pointer is tracing approximately straight line motion. So one of the application of this Roberts mechanism you can see in the steam engine to move the lever. In this portion you can see to move the lever this Roberts mechanism is used. So the next important topic is intermittent motion mechanism. So if you see this animation, you will come to know what is intermittent motion mechanism. This intermittent motion mechanism are used to convert continuous motion into intermittent motion. In the animation you can see this is the driver, and this is the driven. So in order to make the complete revolution of the driven, so driver has to rotate 11 revolution, or driver has to complete 11 revolution in order to make the follower or driven one complete revolution. So we call such type of motion as a intermittent motion. So continuous motion gets converted into intermittent motions. So for this purpose, we use three major intermittent motion mechanism. One is the Geneva mechanism, or we call it as a Geneva wheel. Second one is ratchet and pawl mechanism, and third one is toggle mechanism. So let us see one by one. So first one is the Geneva wheel mechanism. So this Geneva wheel mechanism is a cam-like mechanism which provides intermittent rotary motion. It is usually used for indexing of a work table in both low and high speed machinery. It is also used in motion picture projection to provide intermittent advance of the film. In this mechanism, driving crank, that is rotating member, or the link A, carries a pin which engages in a slots of the Geneva wheel. Okay, so it is important to note that the center line of the slot and crank are mutually perpendicular at engagement and disengagement. Usually, crank rotates at a uniform angular velocity and carries a roller to engage with the slots. Geneva wheel is turned 1/4 revolution of the driving crank. It means that the pin and wheel remains in contact during 1/4 turn of the wheel. During remaining time of one revolution of the crank, the wheel remains at rest, that is, locked in position by circular arcs. The number of slots in a Geneva wheel may be 3, minimum 3, maximum up to 16. So in the animation you can see how the Geneva wheel works. So next important type of intermittent motion mechanism is ratchet and pawl mechanism. So ratchets are used to transfer motion of rotation or translation into intermittent rotation. In the figure, A is the ratchet wheel and C is the pawl. As lever B is made to oscillate, the ratchet wheel will rotate anti-clockwise with the intermittent motion. A D holding pawl D is provided to prevent the reverse motion of ratchet wheel. So in the animation you can see how the reverse motion is prevented with the help of uh, the lever D. So this is the lever D which is provided in order to uh, restrict the motion in the reverse direction. Some of the application of this ratchet pawl mechanism is to lift the water from the well. We use this simple mechanism, and even in the automobiles we use this mechanism to lift the stepney wheel, especially in lorries and buses. To lift the stepney wheel we use this mechanism. So the third important type of intermittent motion mechanism is toggle mechanism. So this toggle mechanism are used where large resistance are to be overcome through a short distance. So in the figure you can see uh, there is a slider, that is link number 6. So due to the rotation of this crank, due to the rotation of this crank, that is link number 2, the force or effort is passed through the link number 5 and link number 4. Since link number 4, the end point of link number 4 is pivoted at link number 1, the effort is directly transferred to the this slider or punch through the link number 5. This P represent the resistance. Okay, so here we have a very small distance. So to overcome a large resistance through this small distance, we use this mechanism. So in the animation you can see uh, the rotational motion is transferred to this link, and here we have a crusher. So here we have a crusher, so which is crushing the object. So usually we use this toggle mechanism in a stone crusher, punching machine, and in riveting machine, etc. So where the lower resistance to be overcome through the small distance. So next, so we have to prove, so it is overcoming, or a small effort is enough to overcome the large resistance. So for that I will consider the equilibrium condition of the slider 6. So in this, a triangle will be considered, that is off portion of the mechanism. So here we have the effort F, therefore this side becomes F by 2, because we are considering half of the triangle F by 2. Since the resistance is acting in this direction, therefore this is P. Opposite side by adjacent side, therefore becomes tan alpha. So tan alpha is equals to F by 2 divided by P. Therefore F can be written as F is equals to 2P times of tan alpha. So here F represents the effort, whereas P represent the resistance. So this equation says that small effort is enough to overcome the large resistance. 2 times of resistance can be overcome by using small effort. So next important type of mechanism is pantograph. So if you see the animation, you will come to know the application of a pantograph. So usually we use this pantograph to copy the images, or to enlarge or reduce the given images. Okay, and even this mechanism is used as a guider to guide the tool post, and also this mechanism is also used for engraving different images or shapes on wood or metals with the reference images. Okay, so these pantographs are used for reducing or enlarging drawings and maps. They are also used for guiding cutting tools or torches to fabricate complicated shapes. So in the mechanism shown in the figure, path traced by point A. So this is point A. Path traced by the point A will be magnified by the pointer E to some scale. So that scale will be discussed as follows. In the mechanism, AB, link AB, this link AB is equals to CD. Okay, so AD, length of link AD is equals to BC, and OAE, OAE, points OAE lie on a straight line. Okay, so when point A moves to AA dash, then the point E moves to E to E dash. Okay, and OA dash E dash also lies on a straight line. Okay, so from triangle ODA and triangle ODA and triangle OCE are similar because having the same angle. Triangle ODA and OCE are similar. And in the second position, triangle OD dash A dash and triangle OC dash E dash are similar triangle. Therefore, by using similar triangle concept, OD, the line OD divided by OC. So like this we can write OD by OC, because these two are similar triangle, is equals to OA by OE is equals to AD by CE. So for the first position, for the second position, so OD dash by OC dash is equals to OA dash divided by OE dash is equals to A dash D dash divided by C dash and C dash E dash. Okay, so but these two are same because this link length does not change. So OD by OC, OD by OC is the same as OD dash by OC dash, and OA by OE, OA by OE is same as OA dash divided by OE dash. Okay, so triangle OAE dash and triangle OEE dash are similar, and also this EE dash is parallel to AA dash. Okay, so and this EE dash divided by AA dash. So let us consider these two triangles, that is OAA dash and OEE dash. These two are similar triangle. So therefore from these two similar triangles I can take EE dash, side EE dash divided by AA dash is equals to OE divided by OA. Next to OC divided by OD, OC divided by OD, because so here you can see OE by OA, OE by OA can be written as OC by OD. Okay, next this EE dash divided by AA dash is equals to OC by OD. I will consider only these two terms. I will consider only these two terms. Therefore, EE dash is equals to AA dash into OC by OD. So, what does it mean? This EE dash, so EE dash is equals to AA dash times of OC by OD. So, this OC by OD represent the magnification factor. Okay, suppose this OC by OD becomes 1, then so whatever the shape we have at pointer A, we will get the same shape at pointer E. We will not get any magnification or reduced one. Okay, so it depends on length of OC and OD because it acts as a magnification factor. So you got this equation. So here so E dash by AA dash. So we have considered these two triangles, that is OAA dash triangle OEE dash. So this triangle EE dash by AA dash, next OE dash by OA dash, OE dash by OA dash is equals to OC dash divided by OD dash. But OE dash by OA dash can be written as OA by OE or OE by OA. Okay. Similarly, OC dash by OD dash so can be written as OC by OD. Therefore, in place of this, so we have written OE by OA and OC by OD. So next one, steering gear mechanism. So here steering mechanism is used in automobiles for changing the directions of the wheel axles with reference to the chassis. So, so as to move the automobile in the desired path. Usually the two back wheels will have a common axis which is fixed in direction with reference to the chassis, and steering is done by means of front wheels. In automobiles, the front wheels are placed over the front axles, also called as stub axles, which are pivoted at the points A and B as shown in the figure. When the vehicle takes a turn, whether it is a left turn or right turn, the front wheels along with the stub axles turns about the pivoted points. The back axles and the back wheels remains straight. Always there should be absolute rolling contact between the wheels and the road surface. Any sliding motion will cause wear of tires, right? When vehicle is taking turn, absolute rolling motion of the wheels on the road surface is possible only if all the wheels describe concentric circles. Therefore, the two front wheels must turn about the same instantaneous center I, which lies on the axis of the back wheel. Okay, so this is all about the steering gear mechanism. So next one, condition for perfect steering. So in order to obtain a proper steering in a vehicle, so it has to satisfy a condition. Okay, it has to satisfy a condition. So what is that? Let us see. So let us consider the same diagram. So in the diagram we can see the front wheels are describing a instantaneous center, or about this center both the front wheels are turning, and this instantaneous center is passing through the axis of a back axle or back wheels. Okay, so here while negotiating a curve, the inner wheel, so with respect to the rotation with respect to left direction, this is the inner wheel. Since the vehicle is taking the left turn, this will become the inner and this will become the outer wheel. Okay, the inner wheel makes a large turning angle theta, this is theta, and then the angle phi subtended by the axis of the outer wheel. Okay, so in this figure a represent, this small a represent wheel track. Okay, capital L represent wheel base, and this W represent the distance between the pivots of the front axle. Okay, AB. Next, so I will consider the triangle IAE. IAE. So triangle IAE. So in this triangle, I will apply cot theta because I can measure this length, that is AE, and this EI. Okay, so AE by EI. So EI can be written as L because we know the distance L. Therefore, cot theta can be written as AE by L. Similarly, from triangle BEI, so if I apply cot phi, so EB divided by EI. So this EB can be written as AB plus AE, right? This EB can be written as AB plus AE, and this EI is nothing but L. But I am not going to substitute this L value. So first I am going to simplify this equation. That is, this AB value is W. So in place of AB, I will substitute W. Okay, so I will split this equation. So what happens? EA by L plus W by L. So EA by L is nothing but what? Cot theta. So in place of EA by L, I will substitute cot theta, and this remains same, W by L. So therefore the final equations become cot phi. So this will come outside the, or it will come to the left hand side. Therefore cot phi minus cot theta is equals to W by L. So call this one as equation number 1. So this is the fundamental equation for correct steering. If this condition is satisfied, there will be no skidding of the wheels when the vehicle takes the turn. So under this steering gear mechanism, we have two important types. One is Ackermann steering gear mechanism. Another important type is Davis steering gear mechanism. So in your syllabus, they mentioned only Ackermann steering gear mechanism. So therefore, now let us see what is Ackermann steering gear mechanism. So here, this Ackermann steering gear mechanism consists of all turning pairs, okay, and it is based on the 4-bar mechanism. So in the front wheel, you can see it consists of 4-bar mechanism A, L, M, B. So because of this turning pairs, its manufacturing cost is less and less wear and tear of the parts. Okay. So the animation video of this Ackermann steering gear mechanism, you can see here. So it consists of this 4-bar mechanism. So with the help of this 4-bar mechanism, the turning of the wheels takes place either towards the left or right. So when the driver rotates the steering wheel towards the left or right, so there is a motion takes place uh, either towards the right or left. So due to the movement or action of this 4-bar mechanism. So so here you can see RSAB. RSAB is a 4-bar chain. Link RA and SB, which are equal in length, are integral with the stub axle. Integral with the stub axle. These links are connected with each other through track rod AB. So this is called the track rod. When the vehicle is in straight ahead position, link RA and SB make equal angle alpha. You just see only continuous line. So when the vehicle is passing in a straight ahead, then there is no change in shape or position of this 4-bar mechanism. Then the angle becomes alpha. Then this dotted line in the figure indicate the position of the mechanism when the vehicle takes the left turn. Okay, this dotted line indicates when the vehicle takes the left turn. So let AB, this length AB is capital L. Let AB is equals to capital L. RA is equals to SB is equals to R. This is a small r. This is R. This is R. So angle PRA is equals to QSB is equals to alpha. That is when the vehicle is moving in a straight position ahead. And in the turned position, angle ARA dash or A1, A dash A1 is equals to theta and BSB1 is equals to phi. That is, the stub axle of inner and outer wheels turns by theta and phi angles respectively. So neglecting the obliquity of the track rod in the turned position, the moment of A and B in the horizontal direction may be taken to be the same. Okay, so therefore sine alpha plus theta can be written as, which is nothing but the total angle. So let us consider this total triangle. This total triangle up to here. up to here. Up to here, total triangle. Sine alpha plus theta. Opposite side is d plus x. Opposite side is d plus x. Hypotenuse is r. Okay, therefore sine alpha plus theta is equals to d plus x by r. Similarly, so here I will consider only this triangle, that is alpha minus phi, this triangle. This triangle sine alpha minus phi, which is nothing but d minus x. D minus x opposite side, and hypotenuse is r. Therefore sine alpha minus phi becomes d minus x by r. So if I add these two equations, that is sine alpha plus theta plus sine alpha minus phi, so it becomes 2 times of d divided by r. This x and x get cancelled because both are having opposite sign. So therefore it becomes 2 times of sine alpha, because if I consider this triangle, in this triangle, so sine alpha represent opposite side by hypotenuse, that is d by r. Therefore uh, sine alpha is nothing but, in this triangle, d by r. So in place of this d by r, I will write sine alpha. Okay, so angle alpha can be determined using the above equation. The values of theta and phi to be taken this equation, in this equation, are those found for correct steering using the equation number 1. Okay, so this mechanism gives correct steering in only 3 positions. So one is when theta is equals to 0, and other two each corresponding to the turn to right or left. Okay, so that can be determined with the help of equation number 1.